Good to see y'all again this week. Yeah, like Ricky just said, just finished our 1 week of preseason. Crazy short this year at the D2 level, just based off of first day of school and first day of matches and the calendar. So we had to fit a whole preseason into 6 days. Thought we did a very good job. The young ladies were extremely committed to the process, as they were all summer. So like we talked about last week, our ground floor was pretty high for preseason this year, and very excited to see what that looks like here in 2 weeks.
So what does your preseason look like then? If it's so condensed, what were you missing maybe that you would have with more time?
Time off, time to recover, right? I mean, we are a dynamic sport, and but you got it. I mean, there's so much to do, and so we, for the last 15 years of my career, typically you go two practices, one practice off, right? Is kind of the flow of the week, if you will. We had to go 2, 2, 2, 1, 2 off, right? So much less time off than what you would like, but I mean, it's our job as coaches to kind of figure out the scheduling of all that, and our morning practices weren't as jump intensive, and so we got great work without overly taxing the body. We went super heavy in the afternoons. Brian and Vinny, our athletic trainer and strength coach, are awesome about knowing how their roles help our young ladies perform, and so it was a mad rush, but we got through it pretty well.
And with that schedule, how have you helped the team to develop so far this season?
Well, it's been, we have to dominate the first contact, right? Serve and pass is the name of our game in the sport of volleyball. And so a lot of what we do stems from that first contact, right? Of course, there's, rally play from there. There's defensive schemes, there's offensive schemes. But none of that matters if you can't dominate that first contact. So that was really our key focus over this last week. And then, beautiful thing, when you return 14, when you have 8 seniors, right, a lot of that setter hitter connection, a lot of those day one connection things, we really, I don't want to say we didn't have to worry about, but we're very well established before we hit the court Tuesday morning.
What did you see out of your team in the first practice that you really liked?
Oh, they're intense, right? I mean, the number one thing you have to do is you better attack every play, every practice, every rep, and we've got that, right? So, look, it's a process. We're trying to get to the top of the ladder here. You can't get to the top of the ladder unless you take that first step. But you can ascend up that ladder as quickly as possible if you're intense and you attack everything. And man, the young ladies did a great job at that.
And what was something that you saw that they need to improve on, that you will make a point of emphasis in practice?
Yeah, so we're changing the tempo of our offense, and I say we're changing, right? I'm going into year number 1, but we're actually changing it from the 6 week of spring that we had, right? And so we worked on one tempo. The beautiful thing about our sport is we got all last month to watch the Olympics and really kind of delve into a few higher level sophisticated things that we can absolutely implement into our offense here. So we're changing the tempo a hair, and that just comes, right. It's like practicing 5-foot putts, right? To a 20 handicapper, 5-foot putts are really hard. To a PGA Tour pro, they're not that hard because the PGA Tour pro has years and millions more reps, right? And so the same thing, when we're working on our tempo, our connection, just takes time, just takes practices.
And what are your goals for the team this season?
Look, if we attack every day, we're going to be pretty good. The whole tie for 9th thing is kind of funny. Look, because if there are 2 teams with the same record, there is some tiebreaker method worked into the Lone Star Conference. So the preseason polls, I mean, just the fact that we're rated tied for 9th just shows how it's fun, it's exciting, right? It means it's the start of the season, but we don't put a whole lot of stock into that, right? Dominate today. We've got to practice here in 15 minutes. We're going to go after it. If we do that and then do it again tomorrow, do it again the next day, do it again the next day, come the end of the season, we're going to be really good. We got a lot of talent, a lot of experience, and a lot of hunger.
And so with such an experienced team, a very senior heavy team, as you were saying, there's already those connections. So are you really establishing much of rotation and who goes in where and who's paired up with who, or is that kind of already set?
Oh, no. Every position is up for grabs. We've got like high flyer talent, but then we have other people in that same position that maybe don't touch as high athletically, but maybe have an IQ to understand how to score, right? And so there's no harm to animals, right? But there's a million different ways to skin a cat. So we're going to find the most efficient way, the best way, and we'll have that out next Friday when we step onto the court for the first time.
Do you feel that anyone specifically you can name made some really big strides this preseason?
Well, I really think all three of our freshmen, here it might be the most awkward thing when you're coming into a team with 14 returners and 8 seniors, right? I mean, and there's a smaller class like 3 freshmen and no transfers. That's not always the easiest to kind of find your footing, to find your voice, to find your spot in the team. And all 3 freshmen not only stepped up, but fit right in. And I think a lot of that goes to, maybe a little bit of the recruiting process. I would like to think we establish the foundation long before they ever step onto campus. But I think the other thing is those 14 returners, we put a lot on them as coaches to ensure that it is a comfortable environment to come into, that new players, whether a freshman or a transfer, can come in and feel at home day one. And our returners did a fantastic job of that.
And speaking of your first game next Friday, what are some of the things that you're going to do this week and next week before the game to make sure that the girls are ready?
Yeah, it's when you go into that first weekend, you don't have scouting reports, right? We have film from last year, we have numbers from last year, but if any of those girls are the same, shame on them, right? Everybody that we play should be a little bit better than they were last year. So you can maybe get an idea of style and play that first weekend, but you're not putting a ton of emphasis into those initial scouting reports. So a lot of it is take care of our 900 square feet, right? If we dominate our side of the net, it really won't matter who's on the other side and what offense or defense they're running, because we'll dominate our side and force the opponent to adjust to us, not the other way around. That's it. Very excited. The one thing I would definitely the West Texas community, right, with the start of fall, the first opportunity that you're going to have to see the orange and black in action is this Saturday, Ratliff Stadium, 6 p.m. football versus Western New Mexico. The volleyball team, we're all going to be there, welcoming fans into the game. So look, if you don't have any other reason, hey, come meet us as you enter the gates. But obviously, there's a lot of excitement for our football program returning or defending champions, I should say. And I really hope that all of West Texas comes out for that first game and for that first, kind of UTPB moment of the 2024-2025 year.
Actually, I did one more. This will be your first volleyball match as a head coach. So what is your mindset? It's like, hey, I got to set the tone as a head coach now. So what's your mindset?
To be fair, it's really not that different. I mean, every match I've ever gone into as an assistant coach, I had the weight of the world on my shoulders because that's just the pressure that I put on myself. So other than maybe my name is announced before the match, whereas when you're assistant, it's not announced before the match, it doesn't matter.
Awesome. Thanks, good.
Yeah, thank you so much.